3 or something like that. And so you're trying to get prime numbers at the very bottom tips of your tree. Think of a tree, your branch. You have all these things coming off it, but essentially the tip is what you want. Okay. So in this case, we're looking at the prime factorization of 56. 56. When I think of 56, you think of two numbers that you can multiply together to get 56. First thing I think of, 7 times 8. Simple, short, sweet, everything. Okay, 7 is definitely a prime number, so there's our first prime number. Okay, 8 is not. It can be divided into 4 times 2. 4 is still not prime. Here's another prime number, 2 times 2. I did not draw that good. But basically what you do is you read across these numbers that you boxed in that are prime. So you have 7 times 2 to the third. 2 to the third is just 2 times 2 times 2, which we have down here, 2, 2, 2. That would be your prime factorization. 7 times 2 to the third. Okay, and next one, GCF of 25 and 35. This is the longer way to do GCF. GCF is greatest common factor, of course. So, if you think factoring means breaking it down into smaller pieces. Multiple, as in least common multiple, means basically using every step of that number. Basically, 25, the next multiple would be 50, because that is 25 times 2, this is 25 times 1. We're basically increasing this number once every time and getting new numbers. So in this case, it's GCF. You're taking the factors of something and trying to find where they're the same. Okay, so the factors of 25 and 35, if you think 25, I'm just going to make another tree. Break it down into 5 times 5. You know 5 times 5 is 25. Hold on. Who is it?
Me.
I can't do anything right now. I'm teaching. Okay. Well, okay. Then you think of 35. Break that down into prime factorization. You get 7 times 5. So, I mean, if you look at the board, there's nothing else you can multiply together to get 25 or 35. These are the only choices you got. So the only thing in common here, 7 does not definitely appear over here, so 5's got to be your answer. It's as simple as that. 5 goes into 25 and 35. And that's the greatest thing that can go into it. Now if you had like 60 and 80, that'd be different. 5 does go into both of these. It's a factor of both of those. But also, if you think about 20, 20 goes into both of those. So that would be a greater factor than that. I hope that's the greatest common factor. I don't know. But that's my point, is you have to look at the greatest common factor, not just any factor that you find. Next one, that's pretty easy. To find area, it's length times width. 14 times 12 is going to give you 168 meters squared. Make sure you write your squared sign up there. Squared indicates area. Cubed indicates volume. And just plain old M is like a line. Think of a line. Okay. So next is simplifying. Just have to use your what I call PEMDAS. PEMDAS. This stands for parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. This is basically the order you find. You go in an equation of what to combine first. So first we look at the problem and we see 25 times 30. We see that multiplying is over the ranking of adding or subtracting in the problem. So first we're going to do 25 times 30. Let me get my next page. 25 times 30 is going to give you, let's see, 750. 750. And then you just add across. It's as simple as that. So 200 plus 750 is 950. Minus 20 is 930. 930 is your answer. Okay. Pretty easy. Yeah, this first essentials isn't as bad as it might get, so bear with me. To the nearest hundred, you're rounding 249. You're rounding to this place. And what you do when you try to round something, you look at the place, but you look to the very right to see if there's anything that would up that number to maybe 300. But you see that's a 4. You do not round this 4 up. Don't ever do that. You only look at the number to the right of it. So 4 is not 5 or more than 5. 5 or above will round up. 4 or below will round or stay the same. So basically you round it to 200. And that's your answer. Estimate. There are different ways to do this. If you want to round to the thousandths, that's fine. If you want to round to the hundredths, that's fine. If you round to the thousandths, 374, if you look directly to the right of it, you get a 3. That is not rounded up. So it's going to be 2,000. Next one would be, the 7 would round it up because it's greater than 5. So that would become 7,000. And if you look at 413, that's definitely not a 5. It doesn't even have 1,000 in this place, so that's going to be plus 0. So one answer could be 9,000. Or if you want to round to the nearest 100, then you look at the 3 instead of the 2. In this case, the 4 does not round up the 2, so you get 2,300 plus 6,782. You look at the 7 to the right is the 8, rounds it up, 6,800 plus to the nearest 100. Of course, that would be 400. So that answer is, oh dang, I'm lazy today. 9,500. That's another answer. So either of these are fine, 9,000 or 9,500. And that ends keeping skill sharp. At this time, do the mental math section. We're going to do the mental math section. And I will read you out the problems for you to solve. Okay. The first problem is 8/9, 8 over 9, minus 1 over 9. Number 2 is 7 over 12 plus 1 over 6. 7 over 12 plus 1 over 6. Okay, next problem is 3 yards is how many feet? Convert 3 yards to feet. Now you could just write these problems down. You don't have to solve them yet. I'll give you some time to solve them. So just listen to what I say the problems are. Okay, the next problem is another conversion. Convert 2 years into days. 2 years into days. And one last conversion is convert 5 hours into minutes. 5 hours into minutes. Okay, next problem is renaming. Rename as a fraction in decimal, and it says 75%. So write 75% as a fraction and a decimal. Okay, next problem, number 7. I want you to do this by hand, not with a calculator. So do 132 divided by 6. Do all of these without a calculator, please. 132 divided by 6.